In recent days, the world has stood still, stunned by a disaster that defies explanation. On a quiet Wednesday in Ahmedabad, India, Air India flight I-171, carrying 298 lives, students, doctors, grandparents, children, crashed seconds after takeoff, slamming into B Medical College's dormitory. In an instant, a routine day of study, travel, and farewells turned into a nightmare of fire and devastation, leaving families shattered and the world in shock. Investigators are scouring the wreckage, promising answers, perhaps a mechanical fault or human error, to quell our need for clarity. But is that the full truth? Can such a tragedy be reduced to technical failures? For those who sense a deeper reality, the question runs deeper. Ravi Patel, a 24-year-old medical student and crash victim, died for 9 minutes and returned with a chilling message. He claims he met Jesus Christ, who revealed hidden forces behind the disaster, forces no report can uncover. Ravi's raw, urgent testimony is not just for India. It's a global wake-up call, warning that our spiritual foundations are crumbling. His story, unfiltered and profound, challenges us to look beyond the surface and act before it's too late. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video so this message can reach more people who need to hear it. Leave a comment below with your location and a short prayer. Lord, please bring peace to my family. And don't hesitate to share your thoughts. What do you believe is behind this horrifying disaster? Your voice matters. Your prayer matters. Now, let's listen to what Ravi experienced. My name is Ravi Patel. I am 24 years old, a final-year medical student at BJ Medical College in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. I never imagined I would be writing these words, let alone living through the events that compel me to share them. My life was unremarkable, a tapestry of long study hours, sleepless nights cramming for exams, and quiet dreams of becoming a surgeon who could make a difference in my community. I was just another student, navigating the pressures of medical school, balancing ambition with exhaustion, and finding solace in small moments of joy with my friends. But on that fateful Wednesday, everything I knew was shattered, and I was thrust into a reality I could never have imagined. It was a rare day, one where the relentless schedule of medical school granted me a reprieve, no afternoon classes, a precious pocket of time to breathe. My roommate, Samir, and I decided to make the most of it, indulging in a leisurely lunch in our dormitory, room 318, on the 3rd floor of the left corridor. Our room was a chaotic haven, cluttered with dog-eared textbooks, stacks of empty coffee cups, and faded posters of cricket stars taped to the walls. It was our sanctuary, a place where we could shed the weight of our studies and just be ourselves, if only for a few hours. We had scavenged some chicken curry from the mess hall's leftovers, its spicy aroma filling the room as we heated it in our ancient microwave, which hummed and rattled like an old friend. I made a quick trip downstairs to the communal rice dispenser, scooping out portions that carried the faint metallic tang of the machine, but tasted like comfort nonetheless. We settled on the floor, plates balanced precariously on our knees, the open window letting in a warm Ahmedabad breeze, heavy with the scent of jasmine from the campus gardens. Outside, the hospital next door pulsed with its usual rhythm, ambulances arriving with their siren gunters blaring, doctors hurrying through the corridors, patients waiting in long queues under the midday sun. It was the heartbeat of our world, chaotic yet familiar, a reminder of the lives we were training to save. Samir and I were in the middle of a lively debate, our voices overlapping as we laughed about our recent dissection lab. I was teasing him about his shaky hands, how he'd nearly botched a delicate incision, when he fired back with a joke about my obsessive note-taking. The banter was easy, the kind that comes from years of shared struggles and late-night study sessions. I took a bite of curry, savoring the heat on my tongue, when a sound pierced the air, a sound unlike anything I'd ever heard. It wasn't just loud, it was primal, a roar that seemed to rise from the depths of the earth, shaking the walls and vibrating through the floor. My plate rattled on my lap, rice spilling onto the tiles. "What the hell is that?" Samir muttered, his eyes wide with confusion. I stood, drawn to the window, my heart pounding in my chest. What I saw froze my blood. An Air India plane, its sleek fuselage unmistakable, was flying impossibly low, its wings tilted at a sickening angle. It was so close I could see the rivets on its underbelly, the logo on its tail glinting in the sunlight. It barely cleared the hospital's rooftop, its engines screaming in protest, a sound of mechanical agony that told me something was terribly wrong. The plane wobbled, as if fighting to stay aloft, but it was losing the battle. "Ravi, move." Samir's shout snapped me out of my trance, his voice laced with panic. But I was rooted to the spot, my mind struggling to process the surreal sight. Before I could react, the world exploded. A blinding flash of fire consumed the window, followed by a concussive wave that tore through the brick wall like it was tissue paper. The force slammed me backward, my body crashing into the far wall, with a sickening thud that drove the air from my lungs. Glass shattered, metal groaned, and the air filled with the acrid stench of burning fuel and scorched earth. My vision blurred, the room spinning in a kaleidoscope of flames and debris. I saw Samir's body crumpled in the corner, blood pooling beneath him, his face frozen in shock. Then, darkness swallowed me whole. I felt no pain, no fear, just nothing. I was floating weightless above the wreckage of our room. Below, my body lay twisted among the rubble, one hand still clutching the spoon I'd been holding, now bent and blackened. Paramedics and students rushed in, their voices distant and hollow, calling my name with desperate urgency. I wanted to answer, to tell them I was still here, but I couldn't form the words. Stranger still, I didn't want to. A profound peace enveloped me, a calm that defied the chaos below, pulling me away from the world I'd known and into a realm I could not yet comprehend. I drifted in a void, untethered from the constraints of time and space. The sounds of fire, screams, and collapsing walls faded into an eerie silence, as if the world itself had fallen away. There was no fear, no regret, no clinging to the life I'd left behind, only an overwhelming sense of calm, as if every burden I'd ever carried had been gently lifted from my shoulders. I was weightless, formless, yet more alive than I'd ever been, suspended in a realm where the rules of the physical world held no sway. Then I saw it, a light, radiant and alive, unlike anything I'd ever encountered. It wasn't harsh or blinding like the sun, it was warm, pulsating with an intelligence that seemed to know me intimately. Every thought I'd ever had, every fear I'd buried, every secret I'd hidden from the world was laid bare before this light, yet I felt no shame, no judgment, only an unconditional acceptance that wrapped around me like a mother's embrace. The light wasn't just illumination, it was a presence that saw me completely and loved me without reservation. I knew, with absolute certainty, that I was dead. My body was gone, left behind in the wreckage of room 318, yet I felt more whole, more real than I ever had in life. As I lingered in this radiant void, a presence emerged, vast, infinite, yet intensely personal. It was Jesus Christ. I had grown up in a Hindu family, my knowledge of Christianity limited to fleeting mentions in school textbooks or casual conversations with Christian classmates. I'd attended a few church services with friends, more out of curiosity than conviction, but I'd never given much thought to Jesus beyond acknowledging him as a historical figure. Yet in that moment I had no doubt. This was him. His form was both familiar and indescribable, a figure of light and substance, radiating power and tenderness in equal measure. His face held the majesty of creation itself, yet it was etched with a compassion that felt deeply human. His eyes were the most striking. They held the weight of eternity, galaxies swirling within them. Yet when they met mine, I felt singularly seen, as if I were the only soul in existence. Every moment of my life, every triumph, every failure, every quiet act of kindness, every selfish thought was known to him, laid bare like an open book, yet his love never wavered. He spoke, not with physical words, but with thoughts that surged through my consciousness like waves of electricity, carrying truths no human language could fully contain. His voice was both gentle and commanding, resonating deep within my soul. "Ravi," he said, his words piercing me with their intimacy, "you have been brought here to see. You must witness what I will show you and speak it to the world, even if they turn against you." I trembled, not from fear but from the weight of his command. I was a nobody, a medical student from Ahmedabad, not a prophet, not a priest, not even a particularly devout person. Why me? What could I possibly offer? The questions swirled in my mind, but his eyes held no room for doubt. They were steady, unwavering, filled with a purpose that silenced my insecurities. I nodded, though I had no physical form to nod with, a silent agreement to carry out his will, whatever it might cost me. The light around us shifted, as if preparing to unveil a truth I was not ready to bear. I felt a pull, a sense of movement, though I wasn't moving in any physical sense. It was as if the fabric of reality itself was unfolding, revealing layers of existence I'd never imagined. Jesus' presence remained constant, a steady anchor in this uncharted realm, guiding me toward a revelation that would change me forever. The void transformed, and I found myself gazing down at Ahmedabad from an impossible vantage point. The city sprawled below like a living, breathing map, every detail vivid and sharp, the winding streets, the bustling markets, the Sabarmati River glinting like a silver ribbon under the midday sun. My focus was drawn to the wreckage of the BJ Medical College dormitory, now a smoldering ruin of twisted steel, shattered concrete, and lives forever altered. The air was thick with the stench of burning fuel, the ground scarred with the impact of the plane's descent. It was a scene of unimaginable devastation, a wound on the earth that mirrored the pain in my heart. As I looked closer, guided by Jesus' presence, I saw something that made my soul recoil. Hundreds of translucent forms, souls hovered above the debris, their faces etched with confusion, fear, and sorrow. They were the passengers of Flight I-171, the students in the dormitory, the lives snuffed out in that brutal moment. They weren't at peace, they were trapped, tethered to the tragedy, in a liminal state, unable to move on to whatever lay beyond. Their presence was a silent cry, a plea for release that echoed in the stillness of this spiritual realm. Among the rubble, I saw something else, shadowy entities, formless yet unmistakably sentient, slithering through the wreckage like parasites feeding on the chaos. They had no horns, no fangs, no features that matched the demons of folklore, but their presence filled me with a primal dread. They were living shadows, their movements deliberate and predatory, as if drawn to the despair and suffering that permeated the site. They weren't attacking the souls directly, but their influence was palpable, a dark weight that seemed to hold the souls in place, preventing them from finding rest. Jesus directed my gaze to these entities, his voice steady but heavy with truth. They did not cause the crash, he said, his words cutting through my fear, but they shaped the path that led to it. The scene shifted, and I was shown flashes of human decisions, each a thread in the tapestry of the disaster. I saw overworked mechanics in a hangar, their eyes bleary from exhaustion, skipping critical safety checks to meet impossible deadlines set by indifferent supervisors. I saw executives in air-conditioned offices, their pens signing off on reduced maintenance budgets to boost profits, their decisions rippling outward to seal the plane's fate. I saw pilots in the cockpit, distracted by fatigue and personal worries, missing subtle warning lights that could have averted catastrophe. These forces, Jesus explained, his voice carrying both sorrow and resolve, exploit humanity's weaknesses, greed, negligence, pride, apathy. They do not need to sabotage the plane themselves, they simply amplify the darkness already present in human hearts. They thrive where my light is absent, where people place themselves above me, above truth, above love. The crash was no mere accident, no isolated failure of technology or human error. It was a symptom of a deeper spiritual decay, a world where systems meant to protect life had been eroded by corruption, complacency, and a refusal to acknowledge the divine. The shadowy entities didn't act alone, they were opportunists, feeding on humanity's drift from God, creating conditions where tragedy was not just possible but inevitable. I saw how this pattern extended beyond the crash, touching every corner of the world, hospitals underfunded, governments mired in self-interest, communities fractured by division. The plane crash was a microcosm, a warning of what happens when humanity turns its back on the light. Jesus showed me the broader implications, his vision expanding to reveal a world teetering on the edge. This is not just India's story, he said. It is humanity's story. The same forces that led to this tragedy are at work everywhere, exploiting every crack in the spiritual foundation of your world. But there is still time to choose a different path. The vision shifted, and Jesus presented me with two paths for humanity, each vivid and undeniable. The first path was a continuation of the world's current trajectory, a descent into indifference, where people ignored the spiritual roots of their problems, placing their faith in technology, wealth, and human ingenuity. The scene was terrifying, a cascade of disasters unfolding across the globe. I saw plane crashes, wildfires raging unchecked, floods swallowing entire cities, and societal collapse driven by fear and division. These weren't random events, they were physical manifestations of a spiritual battle, where the shadowy entities grew stronger, their influence spreading like a plague. The disasters defied explanation, overwhelming even the most advanced human efforts to contain them. Firefighting techniques failed against flames that seemed to burn with unnatural intensity. Engineering marvels crumbled under storms that struck with precision. Governments issued statements, scientists scrambled for answers, but their solutions were bandages on a wound that required a deeper healing. If this path is chosen, Jesus warned, his voice heavy with urgency, the consequences will multiply, and no human effort will be enough to stem the tide. The world will face trials unlike any in its history, not because I desire it, but because humanity has chosen to walk away from me. The second path was radiant with hope, a vision of what could be if humanity turned back to God. I saw communities across the world awakening, their prayers rising like beacons of light that pierced the darkness. Families gathered in homes, not for mindless entertainment but for heartfelt worship, their voices joined in sincerity. Churches, once hollow with routine, became sanctuaries of genuine faith, their doors open day and night for those seeking truth. Individuals turned away from toxic influences, endless streams of divisive media, ideologies that pitted neighbor against neighbor, and sought the divine with open hearts. In these places, the spiritual atmosphere shifted dramatically. The shadowy entities I'd seen in Ahmedabad weakened, unable to penetrate the shields created by sincere faith and collective prayer. Disasters still occurred. Humanity was not immune to the challenges of a fallen world, but their impact was softened, their spread contained. Communities that prayed together recovered faster, their bonds strengthened by shared purpose. Governments found their efforts more effective when guided by humility and wisdom rather than pride. Scientists discovered solutions that worked in harmony with the natural world, as if the divine was guiding their hands. The change does not begin with leaders or systems, Jesus said, his voice filled with both compassion and conviction. It begins in the hearts of my people. A single prayer, offered in truth, can shift the spiritual tide. A single heart, fully surrendered to me, can protect a family, a village, a city. When my people come together in unity, their light becomes a fortress that the enemy cannot breach. I saw how this renewal rippled outward, starting small but growing with exponential power. A mother praying with her children at bedtime created a shield around her home. A small church holding nightly worship services became a beacon for its town. A community uniting to support those in need, sharing food, offering shelter, listening with love, transformed the spiritual landscape, making it inhospitable to the forces that thrived on division. The vision was not utopian, it was practical, grounded in the choices each person could make every day. The vision narrowed, focusing on a land far from the smoldering ruins of Ahmedabad, the United States of America. I saw its cities, their skylines gleaming with ambition, its vast landscapes, from rolling plains to towering mountains, its people, diverse and driven, each carrying their own hopes and struggles. But beneath the surface I saw cracks in the nation's spiritual foundation, deeper and more perilous than I could have imagined. The light that once shone brightly across the land was flickering, threatened by a growing darkness. America must take heed, Jesus said, his voice heavy with urgency and sorrow. It has been blessed with great light, freedom, prosperity, the ability to spread my truth to the world. But it teeters on the edge of darkness, its heart divided and its faith waning. He showed me a nation where faith had once been a cornerstone, a source of strength through trials. I saw churches filled with fervent prayer, their pews packed with families seeking God together. I saw communities united by shared belief, neighbors helping neighbors, strangers becoming friends through their common devotion. But over generations, that light had dimmed. Materialism had taken root, turning hearts toward wealth and comfort rather than purpose and sacrifice. Division had fractured communities, with anger and fear drowning out compassion. Spiritual apathy had crept in, even among those who called themselves believers, their faith reduced to rituals without meaning, Sunday services without transformation. The shadowy entities I'd seen in Ahmedabad were active here, too, their influence subtler but no less dangerous. They whispered lies that fueled the nation's struggles, lies that God was irrelevant, that truth was subjective, that personal gain trumped collective good. They didn't need to cause disasters directly, they simply amplified the pride, greed, and division already present, creating conditions where crises could flourish. I saw wildfires raging across forests, their flames unnaturally fierce, defying containment. I saw storms battering coastlines, their destruction relentless, as if driven by more than nature. I saw societal unrest, cities divided by hatred, where dialogue gave way to violence. America's strength, its innovation, its freedom, its confidence, has become its weakness, Jesus explained. It trusts in itself, in its systems, in its achievements, rather than in me. If it does not return to me with its whole heart, its trials will mirror this tragedy and surpass it. The disasters you see are warnings, calls to awaken before it is too late. But the vision wasn't without hope. I saw pockets of light across the nation, places where people were turning back to God. Small churches held prayer vigils, their members fasting and seeking truth together. Families turned off their screens, gathering to read scripture and pray, their homes glowing with spiritual warmth. Communities came together, not for protests or politics, but to serve one another, feeding the hungry, sheltering the homeless, listening to the brokenhearted. These acts, Jesus showed me, were powerful, creating spiritual strongholds that the shadowy entities could not penetrate. In these places, disasters were less devastating, recovery was swifter, and hope endured. America has a choice, Jesus said, his voice both a warning and an invitation. Return to me, humble yourselves, and I will heal your land. Or continue in pride, and the consequences will be your own. The time for indecision is over. As the visions faded, Jesus turned to me, his presence more intimate than ever. His eyes held both infinite love and unrelenting urgency, as if the weight of eternity rested on this moment. Time is short, Ravi, he said, his voice piercing my soul. You have seen what I have shown you. Now you must speak it, though many will mock you, doubt you, even hate you for it. Do not fear their rejection. I will be with you, and I will work through you to reach those whose hearts are ready. I wanted to protest, to tell him I wasn't strong enough, wasn't worthy, wasn't prepared for such a task. I was just a medical student, not a preacher or a leader. But his gaze silenced my doubts, filling me with a courage I didn't know I possessed. Those who have ears, let them hear, he said, his words a final command, a charge that burned into my being. Those who have hearts, let them decide. Go, and do not look back. The light began to fade, and I felt a pull, as if an invisible thread was drawing me back to my body. The radiant void dissolved, replaced by the sterile hum of machines and the sharp scent of antiseptic. I gasped, my chest heaving, as my eyes fluttered open in the IQ of Ahmedabad's civil hospital. Doctors and nurses surrounded me, their faces a mix of shock, relief, and disbelief. He's back. Someone shouted, their voice trembling with emotion. Machines beeped frantically, recording the miracle of my return. They told me I'd been clinically dead for 9 minutes. My heart stopped in the aftermath of the crash. By all medical logic, I should have suffered severe brain damage from the lack of oxygen if I survived at all. Yet my mind was clearer than ever, every detail of my encounter with Jesus etched into my memory with vivid precision. The doctors called it a miracle, their voices hushed with awe, but I knew it was more than that. It was a mission, a purpose I could not ignore. The hospital was a scene of unimaginable sorrow. The crash had claimed so many lives, my classmates, my friends, Samir among them. The grief was a weight that threatened to crush me, a constant ache that made every breath feel heavy. I saw their faces in my dreams, heard their laughter in quiet moments, and wept for the futures they would never live. Yet Jesus' words gave me strength, a reason to keep going despite the pain. I shared my story with a local priest, Father Thomas, who visited me in the hospital. He listened patiently, his weathered face kind but skeptical, his eyes searching mine for signs of delusion or trauma. "Ravi," he said gently, "you've been through a terrible ordeal. The mind can play tricks after such an experience." I didn't blame him for his doubt. My words sounded like madness, even to me, but the truth burned within me, undeniable and urgent. I couldn't stay silent, not when Jesus had commanded me to speak. I began writing, my hands trembling as I poured my experience onto the page. Every word felt like a step of faith, a defiance of the fear that whispered I'd be ridiculed, dismissed, or worse. I wrote for the families who lost loved ones, for the survivors grappling with guilt, for the world that needed to hear the warning before it was too late. I wrote not for fame or validation, but because I had no choice. This was my calling, my burden, my privilege. You don't have to believe me. I'm not asking for your trust or your agreement. I'm just a medical student from Ahmedabad, a nobody with a story that sounds impossible. But I know what I saw, what I felt, what I was told. And I know this: the world is at a crossroads. The forces that led to the Air India crash are at work everywhere, exploiting our weaknesses, waiting for us to falter. The next tragedy is coming, whether it's a plane crash, a fire, a flood, or something we can't yet imagine, unless we choose a different path. Jesus showed me that it's not too late. We can turn back, we can pray and love, we can rebuild the spiritual foundations of our world. It starts with you, with me, with every heart that hears and decides. When the next disaster strikes, and it will, if we do not change, you will remember these words. The choice is yours. The time is now. To you who are reading or hearing my story, I speak not as a preacher or a saint, but as a fellow traveler, a 24-year-old medical student who stood at the edge of eternity and was sent back with a purpose. My name is Ravi Patel, and the 9 minutes my heart stopped during the Air India flight I-171 crash were the most real moments of my life. In that time I stood before Jesus Christ, bathed in his light, and saw truths that have shattered my understanding of the world. This message is for you, whether you believe in God, question his existence, or have never given it a thought. It's for the weary, the hopeful, the broken, and the seeking, because what I was shown is not just my burden to carry, but a call for all of us to answer. I know my story sounds impossible. A Hindu boy from Ahmedabad, raised on science and textbooks, claiming to have met Jesus. I would have doubted it myself a month ago. But the love in his eyes, the weight of his words, the visions he showed me, they are more vivid than the hospital bed I woke in, more certain than the grief I carry for my friends who didn't survive. He showed me the crash was no mere accident, but a symptom of a world drifting from truth, where greed, pride, and apathy opened doors for darkness to creep in. He showed me shadowy forces that exploit our choices, not to cause disasters directly, but to nudge us toward them by amplifying our worst impulses. And he showed me hope, a path where our prayers, our love, our surrender to something greater can rebuild what has been broken. This isn't about religion as I once understood it, rituals, rules, or empty traditions. It's about a living relationship with the one who knows you better than you know yourself. Jesus didn't ask me to convert or to preach a doctrine. He asked me to share a warning and an invitation. The warning is this: time is short. The forces that led to the crash are at work everywhere, in our homes, our cities, our hearts. If we continue to trust in ourselves alone, to chase comfort over truth, to divide instead of unite, the tragedies will multiply. Not because God is cruel, but because we've chosen a path that leads to ruin. The invitation is simpler, yet harder: turn back. Pray, not as a performance, but with a heart that's honest, even if it's hurting. Love your neighbor, not just with words, but with actions, sharing a meal, listening to their pain, standing with them in their struggles. Surrender your pride, your need to control, and ask for guidance from the one who sees what we cannot. These acts, small as they seem, are powerful. They create light that pushes back the darkness, shields that protect our world from the forces that seek to tear it apart. I saw it in his vision: families praying together, communities serving one another, individuals choosing faith over fear. Each choice is a stone in a fortress, a step toward healing. You don't need to be perfect. I'm not. I'm still wrestling with grief, with doubt, with the weight of this calling. But I've learned this: you don't need all the answers to start. You just need to decide. Will you keep walking the path you're on, hoping the world will fix itself? Or will you take a step, however small, toward the light? Jesus said, "Those who have ears, let them hear. Those who have hearts, let them decide." That's my message to you. Hear it. Decide. I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know if you'll face a tragedy like the one that took my friends, or if your trials will be quieter, hidden in the struggles of daily life. But I know this: the world is watching, waiting for us to choose. When the next disaster comes, and it will, if we don't change, you'll remember these words. Not because I'm special, but because they're true. So please don't wait. Pray. Love. Choose light. The time is now, and the choice is yours. As we bring this account of Ravi Patel's extraordinary near-death experience to a close, we stand in awe of the profound truths he has shared, truths that transcend borders, faiths, and cultures. His encounter with Jesus Christ, his glimpse into the spiritual forces at play behind the Air India flight I-171 tragedy, and his urgent call to humanity to return to a life of faith and love are not merely a personal testimony. They are a beacon for a world teetering on the edge of spiritual crisis. The crash that claimed 298 lives in Ahmedabad was a stark reminder of our fragility, a wound that continues to ache on the hearts of families, friends, and communities. Yet within this sorrow, Ravi's vision offers a glimmer of hope, a path forward, if we choose to walk it. This tragedy was not just a mechanical failure or a human oversight. It was, as Ravi was shown, a manifestation of a deeper spiritual malaise. The shadowy entities he witnessed thrive where faith falters, where greed and apathy erode the foundations of our systems, where we turn away from the divine light that offers protection and guidance. But Jesus' message to Ravi was clear: it is not too late. We can choose to pray, to love, to rebuild our lives and communities around the truth that transcends our fleeting world. Every sincere prayer, every act of compassion, every heart turned toward God creates a ripple of light that can push back the darkness. This is not a call to blind religion, but to a living, breathing relationship with the Creator who knows and loves us all. As we reflect on Ravi's words, our hearts turn to the 298 souls lost in the crash. Students like Ravi and Samir, dreaming of healing others, doctors who dedicated their lives to saving lives, grandparents carrying the wisdom of generations, children whose laughter will never again fill their homes. Their absence leaves a void that words cannot fill, a pain that lingers in the quiet moments of those who love them. We cannot undo the tragedy, but we can honor their memory by heeding the warning and embracing the hope Ravi has shared. Their lives, though cut short, were not in vain if their loss awakens us to the urgency of the moment. Let us pause now to offer a prayer for those who perished, for their families, and for a world in need of healing. Heavenly Father, Creator of all, whose love knows no bounds, we come before you with heavy hearts, grieving the loss of the 298 souls taken in the Air India flight I-171 tragedy. You know each of them by name, their hopes, their dreams, their laughter, their tears. We entrust them to your eternal embrace, where pain and sorrow are no more, where they rest in the light of your night. Comfort their families whose hearts are shattered by grief. Wrap them in your peace that surpasses understanding. Heal the survivors like Ravi who carry the weight of this loss, and give them strength to bear the message you've entrusted to them. Lord, we pray for our world, so often lost in division, pride, and apathy. Awaken us to the truth Ravi has shared, that our choices shape not only our lives but the spiritual fabric of our existence. Teach us to pray with sincerity, to love with courage, to live with humility. Let the memory of those we've lost inspire us to build communities of light, where your love reigns and the forces of darkness cannot prevail. Guide us, Father, to choose the path of hope, to return to you with our whole hearts, and to honor the fallen by living lives that reflect your truth. We pray this in the name of Jesus Christ, whose love and sacrifice light the way through even the darkest of times. Amen. As we close this chapter, let us carry Ravi's message forward, not as a tale of despair, but as a call to action. The world stands at a crossroads, and the choice is ours. Will we continue down a path of indifference, inviting further tragedy? Or will we turn back, one prayer, one act of love, one surrendered heart at a time? The 298 lives lost in Ahmedabad cry out for us to choose wisely. Their memory demands it. Their legacy depends on it. Let us honor them by choosing light, by choosing faith, by choosing life. The time is now. The moment I fell on the icy stairs, I thought it was all over, but it turned back to the beginning. These were the first words Clara, a nurse from upstate New York, wrote in her email to us. She died clinically at the end of 2024. What she experienced in that brief span surpasses imagination. According to Clara, she met Jesus face to face, and he revealed 4 prophetic events set to unfold in June 2025. She returned to Earth bearing a message, not just for herself, but for you. Now she's ready to share her full story. Before we begin, please do 2 things to embrace the light. First, comment on your name and city, so we can pray for God's blessings upon your entire family. Second, subscribe to our channel to join us in spreading the light of truth from the Most High. If you're able, support us via the Super Thanks button as a way to contribute to this mission of awakening humanity's souls. We're deeply grateful and lift your heart to the Almighty. My name is Kate, a nurse from upstate New York. Today, a power outage at our home brought back memories of my clinical death late last year, confirming the truth of what I saw. That's why I wrote this letter to you, the team at Eternal Bible Stories. It all began on a Sunday when our house lost power the previous night around 10 p.m. My son, now 10 years old, was playing video games when the power went out, and he was quite disappointed. I, on the other hand, found joy in it as it gave our family a chance to spend time together. The electricity was out until 4 a.m. when it finally came back on. My son came downstairs to join my husband and me, playing with his Lego bricks. Suddenly he looked up and asked me in a very strange tone, "Mom, did you forget something?" In that moment, memories of that fateful night flooded back, overwhelming me the day I truly died and met Jesus. I clearly remember that night, a late December evening after finishing a night shift at St. Luke's Hospital. Exhausted, I collapsed on the sofa in my nurse's scrubs, too tired to change. The winter night was blanketed in snow, with ice sealing every corner, slowing cars to a crawl and silencing the birds. My phone buzzed incessantly with texts from my sister, reminding me to bring Mom's Parkinson's medication. Like many elderly people, my mother struggled terribly in the mornings. Waking up late, I shivered as I splashed water on my face and hurriedly dressed. My left hand clutched the pill bottle, while my right held a folded umbrella, not yet fully opened. I muttered under my breath, "Lord, just give me 10 minutes of peace." Little did I know, those were the last 10 minutes I'd be conscious in this body. I stepped onto the porch, the umbrella still not fully raised, and my foot touched the first step. A faint crunch sounded as my soul slipped on an invisible layer of ice. I fell hard, and it was the twist of my neck against the step that truly killed me. A sharp crack echoed, and I knew my neck was broken. My body went numb instantly, my heart stopped, and my final thought was to stand up. But I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, my body was completely still. The umbrella slipped from my hand, its weak clang fading beneath the steps. The space around me shifted from freezing cold to warm, as if an invisible blanket enveloped me. A soft golden light danced across my vision, like sunlight behind closed eyelids. Suddenly I felt weightless, seeing my soul hovering above my broken body. Below, on the porch, my neighbor Mr. Hammond rushed over, phone in hand, dialing 911 and shouting for help from those nearby. Though I could hear every word clearly, I knew there was no saving this body. The space around me sank into a living silence. Only the sound of the wind remained, but it was a cosmic hum, not an ordinary sound. I felt an invisible force pulling from deep within, drawing my soul through layers of emotion, regret, peace, sadness, laughter. Each layer appeared like a frame in an endless film reel. Then the space fell completely silent, not an emptiness, but a sacred stillness brimming with life. I realized I had died, yet there was no pain, only a lightness, as if shedding a tattered coat. Before I could gather my thoughts, I was pulled onward, not soaring to the sky, but through a strange tunnel woven from memories and sacred music. The tunnel's walls shimmered with light, and as I moved forward, memories flashed, me at 8 crying on these very steps, my mother kneeling in prayer upon learning I was unconscious, the silent pleas of strangers. All of it was like a chain of threads connecting my soul to people I'd never met. My body lay motionless below, but my soul was led through a silver-blue mist into a realm beyond description. I felt no fear, only an immense love enveloping me, as if touching a light that could speak. At that moment I understood that sudden death is ever present in daily life, even when you feel safe in a warm home. Let me share a bit about what happened afterward. The very next morning we discussed how I needed to buy a solar-powered phone charger. My family belongs to the lower middle class. Most of my husband's salary goes toward paying for the house and living expenses. Stockpiling for tough times is not easy, but we keep a small supply of food and water on hand. I had an encounter with Jesus when I was 16. Since then, I've often dreamed of warnings for myself, my parents, and later my family. I still remember in 2015, I dreamed of World War III. That dream spurred me to start stockpiling to prepare for difficult times. Looking back now, I realize the past 10 years have been Jesus showing his love for me and my family, preparing us. But no amount of money can prepare us for a collapse. Only faith in Jesus can. Relying on him day by day, hour by hour. Now, let's return to the journey of my soul leaving my body. As I left my body, a gentle force carried me through layers of feeling, each one vivid, a window to my soul. Regret swept in, heavy, like a storm cloud, showing moments I'd turned away. Peace followed, a still lake, soothing my core. Laughter and sadness danced, brief but bright, each layer a step deeper into the unknown. The pull guided me, steady and sure, toward a sacred space. I entered a realm of vibrant stillness, the air thick with life, pulsing with a quiet power. A warmth grew, not like fire, but like sunlight soaking into skin, wrapping me in comfort. My spirit settled, sensing something vast approaching. A presence filled the space, grand and alive, and I knew him instantly, Jesus. No words were needed, his light pierced me, knowing every thought, every memory. His form emerged, robed in white, flowing like clouds across a bright sky. His eyes blazed, stars in a cosmic sea, deep and endless. He spoke, not with sound, but within me, his voice steady, sure. This is not your end, Kate, but the start of your mission. The words landed heavy with purpose, a call beyond my grasp. I stood in his light, the air shimmering, alive with intent, each particle awake, aware. He guided me back, opening my life like a book. I saw my childhood, a small girl weeping on those icy stairs, cold and alone. Then the future, Mum kneeling by my empty bed, her hands clasped, lips moving in prayer. Threads of light stretched, tying me to strangers, lives I'd yet to touch, a network glowing bright. Angels appeared, their forms faint, glowing softly, hovering near my lifeless body below. Their hands moved, guiding paramedics, their whispers planting hope. I saw my sister arrive, her cry a sharp sound, a wave rippling out, calling these beings closer. Their light pulsed, a quiet force in the chaos. Jesus stood beside me, his presence a rock, steady and strong. The air hummed, alive, each breath of it knowing me. I felt no fear, only a deep sense of being seen, fully known. His gaze held me, a mirror to my journey, my purpose unfolding. My life played on, moments layered together, a tapestry of time. I saw myself at work, comforting a patient, my hands gentle, voice soft. Nights spent praying for Mum flashed by, her face tired but hopeful. Each act rippled, joining a greater whole, a design of grace. Angels lingered, their glow a comfort, a sign of work unseen. My sister's scream echoed, a vibration reaching beyond this world. I saw how it drew angels near, their light a shield, their presence a spark in the dark. Jesus watched, his calm urging me to see my place. The space shimmered, a living canvas, every speck intelligent, aware. I moved forward, not by steps, but by thought, drawn to his light. The stillness deepened, a sacred calm holding all things, a peace beyond words. My spirit rested, open to his truth. Memories unfolded, a time I shared bread with a stranger, a cold night I prayed alone. Each choice glowed, a thread in his plan, linking me to others. Jesus' eyes stayed on me, steady, showing me the power of every act. I saw how love, even small, shifted the world. The angels moved, their forms a soft light, guiding below. I felt a pull, a purpose growing, a call to carry this forward. The air warmed, his presence a promise, a foundation for what lay ahead. My soul leaned in, ready for his words. I saw my life's ripples, a kind word to a child, a quiet prayer for a friend. Each moment wove into eternity, a pattern I'd never seen. Jesus stood near, his light a beacon, his voice within me, steady. The mission loomed, vast, yet his strength held me. The realm pulsed alive, a space where truth lived. I felt the weight of his call, a task to share, to warn. The angels' glow surrounded us, a testament to divine care. My spirit lifted, sensing the journey ahead, tied to his will. His presence grew, a warmth that filled every corner, a light that spoke. I saw my past, my doubts, my hopes, all known to him. The air carried his love, a force beyond time, steady and sure. I moved closer, drawn to the mission, the truth. The stillness wrapped me, a holy quiet alive with his power. I felt ready, my soul open, eager for what he'd show. Jesus' light held me, a guide for the path, a call to follow. My heart carried his words, a seed of purpose planted deep. Jesus lifted his hand, and the air grew dense, charged with a sacred weight. 4 scrolls of light materialized, each radiant, pulsing with a vibrant energy, their essence tied to monumental events destined for June 2025. The dates shimmered, elusive. My vision too frail to grasp them fully, so I'll recount these as weekly revelations, fragments of divine truth. As the scene steadied, I leaned forward, my spirit poised, eager for the unveiling of his plan. The first scroll unfurled, its light piercing, sharp as a blade cutting through the stillness. A sprawling city, perhaps New York, plunged into an eerie shadow, its skyline dimming, streetlights snuffed out, screens flickering to black. Power grids collapsed, satellites went silent, and all communication ceased, phones dead, radios mute, internet a ghost. Hospitals scrambled, their machines failing, while planes sat grounded, stranded in a world suddenly stilled. People stood frozen, not in panic, but in a bewildered daze, hands reaching blindly for loved ones in the dark. Cars littered streets, engines cold, ATMs blank, their screens offering no answers. Confusion hung thick, a fog over the city, yet amidst this void, a spark emerged. Candlelit circles formed, their soft flames casting a warm glow, drawing neighbors together in quiet unity. Voices rose, hesitant at first, then strong, singing hymns long forgotten, their melodies weaving through the night. Strangers embraced, their faces softened by shared need, a bond forged in the absence of machines. Jesus' voice resonated within me, clear and unwavering. This is to awaken hearts, to lead them to pray, to rely on each other and on me. The purpose crystallized a divine reset, stripping away technology to bear the human soul. I saw families kneeling on cold floors, their whispered pleas rising like incense, a quiet hum of faith reborn. The scroll's light dimmed, but its vision burned deep, a warning of upheaval, a call to prepare. Bread was broken, shared in dim homes, faces illuminated by hope. The air carried their prayers, a delicate thread connecting earth to the divine. The darkness lingered, a shadow of what loomed, a world unready yet stirring. Small acts of kindness multiplied, water shared, blankets offered, voices lifting in song. The scroll sealed shut, its message etched in my spirit, a step toward awakening. My heart held this truth, a beacon for the days ahead. The vision shifted, and I felt the weight of its reality. A mother lit a single candle, her children gathered close, their eyes wide but calm. An old man opened his pantry, giving what little he had to a neighbor. These moments, small yet profound, wove a tapestry of resilience, a light piercing the blackout's despair. The silence, once oppressive, became sacred, a space for souls to turn upward. The scroll's warning echoed, a call to shed reliance on fleeting systems. I saw the chaos, the fear, but also the hope, the return to what mattered. Communities formed, not out of force, but need, a glimpse of a world reborn. The vision held me, urging me to carry this forward, to share its urgency. The second scroll glowed, its warmth enveloping me, the scene transforming into one of radiant hope. Young people flooded unexpected places, high schools pulsed with raised hands, coffee shops hummed with fervent worship, prison yards, grey and cold, erupted in song. This was no church-led movement, but a direct outpouring of God's Spirit, a revival ignited by His touch. Teenagers packed a stadium, not for a concert, but for presence, pure and unscripted. No stage, no lights, just thousands standing together, their voices shouting Jesus' name, a cry from the depths of their souls. In June 2025 I will visit the youth, Jesus declared. Those who never knew me will proclaim my name, as if it's all they've ever known. Their eyes shone bright with truth, hearts pierced by a call beyond this world. I saw a girl, no older than 16, tears streaming, her voice strong, leading others in prayer. Boys in prison uniforms sang, their chains clinking, yet their spirits free, walls crumbling under their praise. This was a wave of change, a fire spreading, unstoppable. No leaders orchestrated this, no pastors stood at the helm. It was God alone, moving through hearts, stirring dreams, awakening the lost. A young man in a cafe dropped his phone, his hands raised, words of worship spilling out, drawing others near. The vision burned, a flame of hope, a light for a generation. The scroll closed, its glow lingering, a promise of renewal woven into time. I saw their faces, bold, unshaken, turned toward Him, their praise a vibration in the air. The world shifted, a new song rising, a movement of the Spirit. My soul lifted, clutching this vision, a call to believe in what was coming. The revival spread, touching cities, towns, places forgotten. A schoolyard filled with voices, not anger, but love, students kneeling on grass, praying for their world. A prison cell glowed, inmates sharing a tattered Bible, their words a shield. The air pulsed, alive with change, a tide turning under His hand. I felt their courage, their fire, a generation rising when none expected. The scroll's light stayed, a reminder of His power, His plan. This was no ordinary moment, but a divine appointment, a shift to carry forward. My spirit held it, a truth to proclaim, a hope to share. The third scroll opened with a sound like locks snapping, urgent, insistent. A city buzzed, its skyscrapers gleaming, banks and markets alive, digital signs flashing wealth and promise. Then, in an instant, lights flickered, then died, money evaporating, bank cards useless. Fortunes vanished, screens blank, a silent shock rippling through the streets. People lined up, not for food, but for answers, their voices sharp, demanding clarity from tellers, officials, pastors. No one knew, their words hollow, faces etched with loss. The world of wealth crumbled, a system built on sand, now swept away. Yet in this collapse, a new light emerged, faint but growing. Small communities formed, farmers sharing grain, their hands steady, generous. Believers gave quietly, their homes open, their tables set for strangers. An old woman, her voice calm, read Psalm 23, her hands passing warm soup to a young couple, their eyes soft with gratitude. Children worked beside grandparents, planting seeds, learning life anew in soil. Jesus spoke, His voice cutting through the vision. This is not about wealth but dependence. Man's systems must fall so hearts turn to me. The purpose was clear, humbling, a return to reliance on Him, on each other. Humble homes became shelters, their kitchens altars, glowing with faith. I saw the meek rise, their love a quiet strength, leading a new way. A man shared his last loaf, his face peaceful, trusting. A family opened their barn, feeding neighbors, their laughter a song. The vision grew, a world reshaped, light shining through broken places. The air thickened, a call to trust beyond coins, beyond screens. The scroll sealed, its truth heavy, a step toward dependence, toward truth. The cost was stark, some fell, consumed by loss, while others rose, grounded in faith. I saw the shift, a path to follow, a hope to hold. The collapse revealed hearts, some clinging to wealth, others to him. A market, once loud, stood silent, its stalls empty, yet nearby a garden bloomed, shared by many. The vision lingered, a warning, a guide, a call to prepare. My spirit carried it, ready to share, to warn. The fourth scroll ignited, its light pulsing like a heartbeat, urgent, alive. A map formed, zooming to the Middle East, near Jerusalem, a place sacred, still. The sky split, silk tearing, light pouring down, radiant, otherworldly. Symbols danced, angelic tongues sang, a spectacle beyond human grasp. Millions looked up, their reactions a divide. Some wept, hands raised, hearts open, others stood cold, unmoved. Children shouted names of angels, untaught, their voices pure. Soldiers dropped rifles, their faces soft with awe. This witnessing phenomenon, Jesus said, confirms the supernatural, but divides. Some see me, others turn away. Media swarmed, cameras flashing, scientists debated, their theories frail against the divine. The humble knew, their hearts certain, their eyes fixed on the sky. A Muslim woman and Jewish man stood together, tears mingling, united in wonder. Above, fire and water spun, gentle yet mighty, a sign of grace. This is the final invitation, Jesus declared, before a great shift. The scroll faded, its weight sacred, a call to the world, a moment of choice. The vision held, a bridge between realms, a truth undeniable. I saw the divide, hearts open, others closed, a line drawn. The sky's light lingered, a beacon for those who saw, a warning for those who didn't. A child pointed, naming a figure in the glow, her voice clear, untaught. A soldier knelt, his weapon forgotten, his heart awake. The air hummed, urgent, a moment nearing, a call to act. The vision stretched, a tapestry of choice, of consequence. I saw the humble, their faith a rock, their eyes on him. The proud turned away, their hearts hard, blind to the sign. The scroll's truth burned, a message to carry, a light for all. Jesus turned, his eyes steady, piercing, his voice slicing through the sacred stillness. My church is not ready, he declared, the words landing like a stone, heavy with truth. He opened a vision, revealing churches, their pews packed, voices raised, yet their light dim, their spirit hollow. The scene unfolded, a mirror reflecting a world lulled to sleep. People filled grand halls, rows stretching wide, their prayers thin, fleeting, bouncing off ornate ceilings, never rising. Sermons flowed, smooth and soothing, crafted to please, not to convict, their words soft, lacking the fire of truth. Worship became a spectacle, lights flashing, music loud but no heart, no surrender. Leaders stood tall, chasing applause, their glow faded, entangled in worldly ambition. The air felt cold, a hollow space where faith had withered to routine. I saw hearts distracted, eyes fixed on screens, not on him, a church adrift, unmoored from its call. Jesus watched, his sorrow a quiet tide, a love yearning for their return. The vision pressed, a sharp call to awaken, to see the chasm. The scene lingered, revealing more congregations busy, yet empty, their actions loud but shallow. Pastors spoke of comfort, not sacrifice, their messages polished, avoiding the cross's weight. People clapped, smiled, but left unchanged, their souls untouched by truth. The church stood, grand but frail, a shell of what it could be. I saw the cost, a people unprepared, their lamps unlit, their oil spent on fleeting things. The air grew heavy, the vision stark, showing a world on the edge, a storm nearing. Jesus' gaze held me, urging me to grasp the urgency, to see the gap. My spirit stirred, sensing the need, the call to warn. Then he pointed, and the scene shifted, small and warm, a contrast vivid and real. A humble kitchen glowed, 3 souls gathered, their hands clasped, voices soft but fierce with faith. Light poured from that room, brilliant, alive, a beacon cutting through the night. "This is my true church," Jesus said, his voice firm, resolute. I saw the difference. Grand halls dark, small homes ablaze. Grandmothers knelt, their prayers quiet, powerful, holding back the storm with whispered pleas. Prisoners prayed, their chains heavy, yet their faith burned bright, a shield against despair. Children whispered, their words innocent, pure, carrying a power unseen, a spark of eternity. The air hummed, alive with their cries, a force binding earth to heaven. "They must return to me," he urged, not seeking my blessings, but my will, my obedience. The faithful stood firm, their surrender a radiant light, a stay against the coming judgment. Their strength, humble and real, shone as a model for all. The kitchen's glow spread, a vision of what could be small, surrendered hearts, not grand stages, holding his favor. I saw a widow, her hands worn, praying for her town, her words a wall of light. A prisoner read scripture, his voice steady, his cell a sanctuary. These were his church, alive, their faith afire. The vision deepened, revealing the contrast anew. Churches stood cold, their pews full, but their souls empty, prayers lost in noise. Leaders chased titles, their words loud, seeking praise, not truth, their hearts far from him. The weight of time pressed in, a warning sharp, a call to turn back, to repent. I saw the faithful, hidden, their pleas a thread of hope, weaving through the dark. A mother taught her son to pray, her voice gentle, her faith a rock. Their homes glowed, simple, strong, altars of love where worship thrived. The scene shifted, a challenge to rise, to be ready. Jesus' words echoed, a plea to repent, to seek him with all. "Wake up," he urged, "pray deep, as if time is short." His sorrow filled the air, a tide pulling at my spirit, a love that refused to let go. The faithful few shone, their prayers a fire, a stay for the world. The vision showed more. A church unready, lost in comfort, blind to the storm. Grand halls stood tall, their lights bright, but cold, no life within. Small rooms burned, their faith alive, a path to follow. The contrast was stark, a lesson in light and shadow, a truth to return. The prayers of the hidden rose, a song of surrender, pure and strong, a wall against chaos. I saw a child's plea, her voice small, her words true, shifting the air. A worker prayed, his hands rough, his faith a shield, a spark of hope. Their power held me, a call to join, to live for him. The scene lingered, showing the gap, the need, the path. Churches needed fire, not form, prayer, not performance, a return to truth. I saw the urgency, a world teetering, a church asleep, yet stirred by the few. Jesus' voice resounded, firm, loving, a guide to light. The vision stretched, a tapestry of warning, of hope. I saw the humble, their hearts open, their lives a prayer. The proud stood, distracted, their eyes on wealth, not him, a divide clear. The faithful strength, their light a beacon, called me to act, to share. The air thickened, the vision heavy, a moment of truth. I saw the church's heart, its need for awakening, its path to healing. Jesus' call lingered, a mission to carry, to wake the world. My spirit held this, a weight to bear, a truth to proclaim. The scrolls faded, and Jesus stepped back, his light warm, steady. An angel appeared, wings broad, edges tattered, frayed from bearing human burdens. Its form glowed, soft yet strong, a guide sent to lead me. We moved forward, a gentle pull carrying me into the beyond. Heaven opened, a realm of pure light, air fresh like a dawn in spring. Fields stretched wide, woven of colors beyond earth, blues deep, golds warm, purples alive. A sweet scent drifted, like flowers in bloom, calming my soul. The peace was vast, soaking in, a balm to all I'd known. Rivers flowed, crystal clear, singing a soft, joyful tune. Their waters danced, reflecting light in waves, bright and free. Gardens bloomed, petals swaying in a breeze of delight, a sanctuary of rest. Each corner glowed, a space to heal, to lift weary spirits. The angels' wings, torn yet radiant, moved us along, steady shore. I saw souls, their light gentle, resting in this holy place. Areas stood apart, glowing soft, designed to soothe, to mend. The contrast to earth struck me, a haven free of pain. Golden paths wound through, smooth, leading to towers of light, tall and pure. The air hummed, a melody of calm, wrapping me in warmth. Every sight spoke of love, a design too vast for words. My spirit settled, drinking in the beauty, the peace. We passed lakes, their surfaces still, yet alive, reflecting heaven's glow. Flowers nodded, colors shifting, a dance of joy in the light. The angel guided, its presence a comfort, a shield of grace. I felt safe, held in this realm of eternal rest. Towers rose, their tips lost in light, a city of purity, bright and whole. The air carried a song, soft, sweet, a sound of welcome, of home. I saw spaces, each one ready, a place for souls to find peace. The beauty grew, a promise of love, a gift beyond measure. The angel's wings flared, tattered edges a sign of sacrifice, of care. I gazed at fields, alive with light, a land of endless calm. My spirit lifted, the weight of earth gone, replaced by hope. The realm stretched, a vision of grace, a call to rest. Rivers sang on, their voices a choir, mingling with the breeze. I saw souls, their forms bright, healed by this sacred space. The angel moved, its glow steady, guiding me through wonder. My heart opened, ready to learn, to see more. I turned to the angel, my voice soft, seeking truth. "Is there a hell?" I asked, needing to know. The angel paused, its eyes gentle, weighing my words with care. It nodded, slow, its light dimming slightly, a sign of the weight. "I will show you," it said, its voice a whisper, strong, clear. We stood still, heaven's peace holding us, a foundation for what came. The angel's presence anchored me, a guide in this holy place. I felt ready, the light around us a shield, a promise. The gardens glowed, flowers bright, a contrast to the question I'd asked. The air stayed sweet, a breath of life, calming my spirit. The angel's torn wings moved, a testament to love's cost. I looked out, the beauty vast, preparing for the truth. Heaven stretched, a realm of light, pure and whole, a home for all. I saw the peace, the rest, the love woven into every part. The angel led, its glow a beacon, a path through wonder. My spirit held fast, open to the lesson ahead. We stood in heaven's light, the angel's eyes gentle, strong, holding a deep truth. Its voice came, soft yet firm, cutting through the calm. Hell is not God's punishment forced on humanity, it began, steady and clear. I listened, the words a key to a mystery long hidden. It's a place souls choose, rejecting his love and holiness, the angel said. God gave free will, a gift precious, heavy with duty. He made you for light, to love, to obey him. The air pulsed, heaven's peace a foundation, holding me as I took this in. The angel's wings, tattered, glowed faintly, a sign of sacrifice. Some turn away, chasing selfish desires, fleeting lures. It continued. Refusing light, darkness swallows them. Pain fills the void where love could be. The words landed, sharp, a mirror to choices made. Hell exists because justice and holiness cannot coexist with sin, the angel explained, its voice calm yet unyielding. God does not desire this fate for his children, yet his righteousness demands it. It raised a hand, and the scene shifted. A vast chasm yawned below, dark and alive with writhing shadows, a realm heavy with consequence. I stood above, safe in heaven's embrace, gazing into a place that pulsed with despair, its reality undeniable. A foul stench rose, thick and choking, a mix of rotting flesh and sulfur that stung my senses. Screams pierced the air, raw and unending, a chorus of anguish that echoed from the depths. Demons prowled, their fawns twisted jagged limbs, eyes burning red with hate, tails lashing like whips, claws gleaming with malice. They circled lost souls, tormenting them with cruel precision, their laughter a grating, hateful sound that clawed at the heart. The scene was a stark contrast to heaven's serenity, a vision of chaos born of choice. The angel's voice anchored me, a steady light amidst the horror. God intervened through his son's sacrifice on the cross, it said, its words ringing with hope. Jesus bore unimaginable pain, died to redeem all, to offer a path away from this place. The truth of the cross shone, a love so vast it spanned eternity, a way out freely given. I felt its weight, the sacrifice that bridged the chasm between humanity and grace. Choice remains yours, the angel said, its eyes kind yet firm, holding mine with quiet intensity. Love cannot be forced. If God stripped away free will, you would lose his image within you, the capacity to love truly. I gazed into the pit, its darkness writhing, a place not of cruelty but of consequence, shaped by the will of those within. Souls wandered lost, their faces etched with regret, trapped by paths they had chosen. The air below burned heavy with heat, a stark opposite to heaven's cool, living calm. Demons taunted, their voices sharp, reciting faults with cold accuracy, each word a lash. The scene embodied justice pure, unyielding, a reflection of decisions made in life. Yet even in its severity, there was no malice from God, only the inevitable outcome of rejecting his light. The angel's tone warmed, strong and compassionate. He calls to you daily, waiting patiently, using every means to draw you back, it said. Through his teachings, through others, through the quiet voice of your conscience, he knocks at your heart, urging you to turn. The words built a bridge, a plea to heed his voice, to choose the path of love. I saw the countless ways he reaches out, his persistence a testament to his longing for every soul. Yet some refuse, clinging to sin, choosing this place by their own will. The angel added, its voice tinged with sorrow. Below, flames danced alive, their heat punishing yet fair, a response to defiance. Demons sneered, their claws glinting, their accusations a relentless record of every wrong. The pit pulsed, a warning laid bare, a truth that demanded reckoning. Hell reflects choices, not God's cruelty, the angel said, its light unwavering, a shield against the darkness below. He never abandons you. Even now he seeks you, offering a way to redemption. The screams softened, the stench lingered faintly, a lesson in consequence etched into my spirit. I felt the weight of free will, the call to choose light over shadow, love over loss. The angel's glow enveloped me, a protective embrace, shielding me from the horror I'd witnessed. Heaven's peace stood firm, a soothing balm to the chaos below. The vision clarified the divide between love's embrace and the desolation of rejection. My spirit absorbed this truth, a message to carry, a warning to share with those still choosing. We turned from the chasm, its darkness receding as heaven's light surged, bright and pure. The air cleared, sweet with the scent of life, a breath of hope that filled me anew. The angel's wings, torn yet radiant, moved gently, a sign of love's enduring cost. I understood hell's place in the divine order, its role as a consequence, its call to turn back to God. The lesson sank deep, a guiding star for my path, a truth for all who would hear. Heaven's field stretched before us, glowing with promise, a vision of rest and eternal love. The angel led, its presence a rock, its light a beacon in the truth. My spirit stood ready, holding fast to this message, prepared to bear it to the world. The angel's light guided me, a gentle pull back through realms. Pain returned, needles sharp in my skin, pressure heavy on my chest. Air stung my throat, and I gasped, alive after 7 minutes dead. My mind cleared, every name, every moment sharp, a gift from beyond. Doctors stared, their faces stunned, expecting loss, damage. I spoke truths unexplainable, a nurse's unborn son's name, an EMT's hidden heart flaw. They tested, marveled, finding no fault, my clarity a sign. The air held wonder, a touch of eternity in their eyes. At home I saw watchers, guardians of spirit, faint, glowing. Every house had one, shielding us from dark forces, wings torn, frayed. Their numbers grew, their edges ragged, a sign of battle. I felt their strain, a call for us to rise, to act. I sensed burdens, weights on others, unseen but real. In a store, a thread bound a woman's heart, dark, tight. I spoke, "Forgive Peter," not knowing why, and she nodded, her son's name true. A bond mended, a light sparked, a truth revealed. Night brought visions, air shimmering like heat on stone. Watchers stood near, not judging, but praying, their presence steady. I felt them, protectors of those with messages, a force unseen. The room glowed, a bridge between worlds, alive with power. Prayer deepened this, light filling my room at dawn, during worship. I saw loads, not thoughts, but cares, heavy, pressing. A man's eyes held grief, a weight I named, a loss he hid. The veil thinned, a touch of heaven, a call to see. Watchers guarded, their wings battered, a testament to fight. Their numbers swelled, their strength fading, urging us to stand. The air pulsed, urgent, a sign of time slipping fast. I carried this, a duty to speak, to share. I spoke truths, words from beyond, to strangers, friends. A child's fear, a mother's doubt. I named them, untaught. Each moment felt holy, a work of the divine, unseen. Watchers watched, their role vital, their sacrifice clear. June 2025 loomed, windows of consequence. I called them times of wait. Our prayers, choices, silence would shape nations' lives. Watchers signaled urgency, a world on the edge, needing us. The air held power, a call to ready, to rise. I lived in both realms, heaven's touch stitching me to eternity. Watchers grew, a sign we're not alone, a force at work. My mission burned, a light to carry, a truth to tell. The veil thinned, a bridge to act, to prepare. I share 4 commands from the Lord, steps for the events of June 2025. First, pray deeply, not quick pleas for safety, but true communion. Set time aside, let it reshape your heart, your life. He'll guide you, he promised, through every storm ahead. Prayer is your lifeline, a tie to his voice, his strength. I saw shallow cries fail, but deep pleas glow, alive. Kneel daily, seek him, let your soul meet his light. The air shifts, his presence near, a rock for tough days. Second, simplify your life, cut distractions that cloud your spirit. Social media, empty shows, useless pastimes weigh the church down. These are sandbags before a flood, blocking your light. Trim them, shine bright, be ready for change. I saw hearts lost, eyes on screens, not him, a world adrift. Clear the noise, focus on truth, on what lasts. Simple lives glow, a beacon in dark, a path to follow. The call is clear, strip away, prepare your soul. Third, forgive, let go of anger, hurt, that deafens you. Unforgiveness blocks his voice, a wall when scrolls open. I saw souls bound, too bitter to hear, lost to truth. Release it, find power, a gate to strength ahead. Forgiveness frees, opens your heart to his whisper, his bowl. I saw the cost, the pain of grudges held too long. Give it up, embrace his grace, stand ready for June. The air lightens, a step to power, to purpose. Fourth, fear not, live in obedience, find peace in chaos. Storms will come, but trust steadies you, a firm foundation. He showed me fear, the enemy's tool, but obedience wins. His peace holds, a light in the tempest sure. I felt his calm, a gift beyond dread, a rock to stand. Live for him, follow his way, face the storm. Obedience unlocks rest, a shield for what's coming. The call is now trust, act, be strong. These steps ready you, your heart, your home, your voice. I saw the scrolls, their weight, a shift nearing fast. Prayer, simplicity, forgiveness, courage, your tools for June. My mission burns, a call to share, to wake. The church needs this, a turn from comfort to truth. I saw it unready, lost in noise, blind to storm. Pray deep, simplify, forgive, stand firm, he urged. The air hums, time short, a plea to act. I carry this, a light from eternity, a word for you. The scrolls burn, dates close, a world on the edge. You're part of this, chosen to hear, to rise. Prepare now, lean on him, face what comes. Kate Scott's story, a journey from death to divine revelation, isn't shared for fame. She was given a mission, and so are you who read or hear this. You're chosen to encounter this before June 2025, a vital part of the awakening. These events may not have struck yet, but that doesn't mean they won't. Prepare your heart, your home, your family. Strengthen faith, pray earnestly, stock essentials for tough days ahead. Join us by subscribing, comment your name and city for prayer, and use super thanks to fuel this mission of truth. Kate's words urge you, turn to God, live ready, embrace His call. Next, we'll share another testimony, a soul warned by Jesus of America's collapse if it doesn't change. Stay with us, uncover this urgent message, and walk toward the light. Your role begins now. Act today.